You know, it's just so nice to just let's just go out for yeah. I can't wait to be in space. I've just bought this game. I want to see what it's really all about. Wow, that looks lovely. Right, how do I move? I'm not moving. What's happening? Do I need to? No, that's not doing anything either. What is going on? Okay. Well, I can look around. Yeah, that really helps, but it's not moving me. What happens if I do this? Hey, that looks interesting. Oh god. Oh, what did I do? So, if you've been playing Elite and you've had a situation similar to that little skit just there, this guide's probably for you. Welcome to the not-so-serious side of Witchspace Productions, which I like to call How the Fuck Do I Do This? So, you probably guessed, today is How the Fuck Do I Move? So, moving with pretty much any game apart from Minecraft, or other shite like that, is the heart of the game. You can't do shit without moving. And that little skip was basically my first experience of Elite. I sat on the pad, I hadn't looked at my keybinds, obviously hadn't configured any keybinds, and was like, yeah, this is going to work, this is going to be great, I'm going to just beast mode this game. Yeah. That happened. So, let's just get this done with. It's basic shit. So, what we're going to do is we're going to hit the escape key and wait 10 years. Oh look, there's a menu. It actually came out this time. I actually had to wait 5 minutes before on the last run before I fucked up what I was going to say. So, we're going to controls and we want to go to flight throttle. There we go. Now, this is a guide if you're using keyboard and mouse. And, you know, disclaimer, it's only a guide. I'm not saying that you have to do exactly like this, so don't be a whiny little bitch about it. So, what we're going to do is I've actually got mouse stuff here. Why do I have this? No. Go away. So, set increase throttle to W, bind it like so. You click on it and then you press the key you want. So if I want to set that to, oh, I don't know, 8. If I want to set that to 6, I'd put it there and then just put it to S because, you know, that's the sensible way of doing things. Don't worry about these unless you've got, you know, a joystick with that functionality on it. Why? No. Why do mouse controls have to be here? So, if you do have joysticks and you want to set these up, if you've got sort of 3 buttons lined up in a row on the top, the nice way to do it is the button on the left you set to set speed to 100, button in the middle you set to set speed to 0, and you guessed it, Cotton, the button on the right you set to set speed to minus 100%. And boom, that gives you some nice control over your throttle on your joystick. Because trying to fly with the throttle control on your joystick and using the joystick to fly at the same time is bloody difficult. Trust me, I tried this on a HOTAS after playing it on keyboard and joystick, and I hated it so much I sent the HOTAS back and carried on with my 7.5-year-old joystick. It's not 7.5 years old, but it's old. It's a Logitech Attack 3 and we got it when it first came out. Go figure how old that is, it's 2016 now. Okay, so what you want to do next is flight thrust, I think. Oh yeah, there we go. So these are pretty bloody essential, especially for getting in and out of dock. So you know, these are your strafes, strafe commands. So you know, as you'd expect for any sort of FPS, strafe left, Q, strafe right, E. Except in normal first-person shooters like Call of Duty, for those 12-year-old fans out there, you don't have up and down, or if you do, it's space and gravity. So what we have here is R and F. As R and F make it pretty easy, you don't have to move your fingers far, and you can get up and down fairly quickly. Thrust backwards and forwards you don't really need to think about very much, because you know, you got W and S for that, and if you want to stop thrusting, you just hit the middle joystick button, which will have your handle anyway if you're docking, because you want to keep your hands there in case you get bumped around, or adjust yourself when you're docking. Let's have a look. Flight rotation. So, of course, roll and pitch are the two vital things here. You can sort of do without yaw in this game, but with a joystick you wouldn't need, with a keyboard you won't need to. But roll and pitch are massively important, because that is how you move your ship around in the first place, apart from, you know, thrusters. So what you need to do, your pitch blah. Let me just cut that bit out, or not. I probably won't, I'm lazy. Your pitch axis is like if you pull back or push forward on the joystick, that's your pitch. Your roll is you just push left or right. Now some of your joysticks will probably have a yaw axis on it. It's your personal preference. I've tried one with yaw axis and I didn't really like it because it got my wrist into some rather uncomfortable positions, but considering I broke that wrist that I fly with as a kid, that's probably why. So, you know, this joystick here doesn't even have a yaw functionality, which is great. I can, you know, hold it in whatever angle I want and it won't twist around. And for that, if you don't have one with yaw functionality, you can use A and D. So A is your left, D is your right. One thing you might note, the inversions, or the... I don't know how you put it. Your joystick might send the signals out all jumbled up or upside down. So, say you pulled back and your ship's nose went down instead, you just come back in here and make it inverted like I have, because I know full well if I don't have it inverted, I will pull up and I'll pitch down. And same thing might happen to you for roll. Your axis, well, that doesn't matter anyway, because, you know, for me there's nothing there, but you know, do the same thing so it goes where you're expecting it to go. Right. Furthermore, we could go have a little look. I really don't recommend mouse controls. I know some people fly with them, but I can't. Maybe it's because I'm just used to joysticks. I've never flown a simulator with a mouse, but nah, none of that, nah. Nope, not that. Flight miscellaneous. Oh yes. The dreaded flight assist. Toggle flight assist. You're probably new to this game if you're watching this. Flight assist is a very fun tool to play with. Of course, I've already recorded episode 2 of Commander's Guide to the Galaxy, but when this goes up, episode 1 for the Commander's Guide to the Galaxy won't even be up yet, so you'll have no clue what I'm talking about. Flight Assist enables semi-Newtonian physics, which has the thing of every reaction has an equal and opposite reaction. That'll be true in an atmosphere, but of course we're in space, there's no atmosphere, so you have to supply that equal and opposite reaction yourself. But the great thing is that you could be going 200 meters a second forwards, spin your ship around, and be facing backwards while still doing 200 meters a second in the direction you were originally going in, which is quite useful in fights. When you can't get someone in front of you. You get them behind you and you flip yourself around if you're fast enough. It's also just makes you a bit more manoeuvrable, I've found. So, you know, Z is a really good button to that. It's Z, not Z, you American fucks. Sorry, I love you. So Z for that is fairly useful. And Z is quite easy to hit it with, you know, it's close by. I suggest putting that to toggle, otherwise you'll be sticking your finger on there for the whole bloody time, and you won't be able to use a yaw or anything, or you'll only be able to yaw right. Engine boost. This is a pretty bloody critical thing. Just put it a tab. Just put it to tab. It's close by. It's really close by on the keyboard. And come on. I shouldn't need to explain why boost is important. Toggle frameshift drive. Oh god, this is a fun one. Yeah, frameshift drive, basically, it's a faster way of travel. You can set it up to whatever you want on the keyboard. I think that might be the default settings, but you know, I've got keyboard bindings for all of this anyway. So I don't really use these joystick bindings. That Joy 2 there is on my joystick. It's on the top section. I use that when I'm just jumping between system. Rotational correction, leave that on. Unless you're a complete nutcase, leave that on. I'm not even going to show you what it's like without it. Targeting. Select target head. Well, these are all very subjective. I haven't changed most of these, but select target head. You know, T. It's close by, and it makes sense. T for target. Cycle next target. I never use. Cycle next subsystem. Y. It's a bit further away, sadly. And target next system in route. O. It's useful if you're jumping a lot. Weapons. This is where it gets fun. So, if you're going keyboard and mouse, keyboard and joystick, sorry, not keyboard and mouse like the plebeians that use that. I highly suggest putting one of your fire groups on each. So, for example, I've got the trigger button on my joystick set up for primary fire, and then I've got the spacebar down here. Oh, shite. For secondary fire. So, you know, primary fire would be things like laser weapons and instant travel weapons. Secondary fire would be things like projectile weapons. That's just a suggestion. You can do it whatever the hell way you want. I've run ships where I've had different types of energy weapons, which, you know, instant travel on different fire groups, because I just wanted them going off at different times. There's some other things here, like deploy hard points, which will, you know, extend or retract your hard points. Pretty simple. N toggles you to the next fire group, which is pretty important. Probably not early on, but when you get into larger ships, that's quite important, because you can have multiple weapon systems on the ships. For example, a mining ship, you will have a weapon system or a weapon group for your main weapons for defending yourself, for your mining lasers, and then a weapon group for your prospecting stuff and your collection limpets. I'll go over sort of limpets later on, probably in the main Commander series, because they are... I'll put it briefly now. They're programmable little drones, and they just do whatever the hell you want them to, which is, you know, it's neat enough. Let's keep going then. Cooling. This is quite useful. Silent running. Silent running is an incredibly useful and incredibly dangerous mode. Dangerous because it closes all of your heat vents and shuts off your shields. You know, but it's really useful because it actually makes your radar signature disappear. You disappear off of the map. You don't exist. All you turn into is just this vague, shimmery signature on the radar of like, well, there might be a ship here. It works. It's not some kind of god tier thing. It doesn't work indefinitely. You know, if you're sitting there at 100% ship heat, you're definitely going to show up on someone's radar because your ship's just going to be radiating so much bloody heat, even with the heat vents shut. But you know, you can generally get away with it up to about 50-60% heat, and then you just chuck a heat sink, which brings me on to this, which is a really good place to have the heat sinks. V. And I will show you why in a moment if I can find where. There, use a shield cell. Shield cells repair your active shields. There's not much to say to that. They take a couple of moments to spool up. You know, as you'd expect, the bigger they are, the higher class they are, the longer they take to spool up. They generate an absolute shitload of heat, which is why, you know, putting them right next to the button for the heatsink makes sense, because you can just slam on both of them and generally it's okay. Although I have ships which overheat even under a heatsink. There's one thing shield cells won't do. If your shields go down while you're popping a shield cell, it's useless. And they don't stop either. They'll continue to cook your ship until they're done, even if your shield's gone offline. Chaff launcher. That's a really stupid place to put it. Don't do what I've done. Just find somewhere else to put it, please. Yeah. So I might put that to G. Just K is so far over. No. In combat you really need them, because your gimbaled weapons are able to track you up to a certain point. Turreted weapons can track you like quite a long way around. They have a damage penalty because of this tracking ability, so gimbal deal, I think, 80% of the full damage that a fixed weapon does, and then turreted deals 60%, but instead of being in the firing arc for, you know, maybe 2 or 3 seconds, no, you're stuck in the firing arc for about 10 to 20 seconds, so the overall damage is a lot higher. You really want to be dropping a chaff if you're getting caught in front of these things, so they can't lock onto you and you just want to get the hell out of there as fast as possible. So, FDev please. I think that's everything I really wanted to go over, because now we should have all the controls we need to take a little trip. And well, there we go. So we're pressing W. One thing to note is that this, if you look down the bottom, there's a little speed bar. You can see me moving it around down there in a minute. Where it goes blue, that is your optimal manoeuvring speed. Combat power, if you want. Although that kind of makes it sound like a Pokemon Go reference. Sidewinder, I choose you. Anyway, that's your, you know, your optimal cornering speed, because it lets you. I don't know why. I don't question it. I just stick it. Just stick your marker in there if you're doing combat and deal with it. Christ, it's not my fault. To the right down there, and this is something I forgot to explain in episode 2, which is the UI overview, is your power distributor. It does pretty much exactly what you think. You've got six little pips there to play with. So they're controlled usually by the arrow keys. So if I press left arrow, get more power to shields. Up, I get more power to engines. And right, I get more power to weapons. But in this case, it kind of just balances it out again. And to balance it out, you just press down. So if you're in combat, what you really want is, until you're actually being fired on at least, full power to your weapons, because then you can hold these down. You see that they're draining fairly quickly, right? That's with full power into them. Bear in mind, this is just a stock Sidewinder, so it's nothing special. If I take that out and do it, oh look, there's no recharge. If I get out of the ship, oh look, we're overheating. So we clearly have a problem there. That's the boost button coming in. So you can see it makes you a fair bit more manoeuvrable and speeds you up quite a lot. It does use a rather large amount of energy though, so use it sparingly if you haven't upgraded your distributor yet. Once you actually get into combat, and maybe I should leave this for the How the Fuck Do I Combat video, but I'll cover it briefly now. Once you get into combat and you start getting fired on, you want to put some power into your system's capacitor. Hell, even if it's 1 pip, that's okay. You know, a power management of 1 system, 1 engine, 4 weapons will be alright as long as you're not under heavy fire, because it will give you some power to actually regenerate your shields with. If you find yourself under very heavy fire, put 4 pips into shields and 2 into engines. The 2 into engines will allow you to recharge and boost. You shut off your weapons, you retract them, so that you can actually start to charge your drive, because it won't charge with the weapons out. Your 2 pips will allow you to regenerate your energy so you can boost again, and your 4 pips in shields will actually raise the amount of shield points you have by 2.5 times, or thereabouts. I think it's 2.5 times. So it's basically emergency tank. But of course, like this, you either have to make the choice of having some engines power or 2 pips of weapons power, because you really don't want to move that energy out of your shields. Anyway, I will cover that in the How the Fuck Do I Combat video, and also in that video I will be building a rather nice little, I'd say cheap, but it's not that cheap. It's about 1,000,000 credits, but when you're new to the game you can earn 1,000,000 credits pretty quickly. So, oh, shite. I still made that mistake. I'll make about 1,000,000 credit combat build and then show you what you can do. For reference, this is Ohm City and I'm in LHS 20. It's a system controlled by a guy called Lee Yong-ri, and everywhere that's controlled by him you get between 10 and 20% off. It's usually 10, 15 or 20, and it's a good place to go because, you know, you can get everything cheaply. So for example, this Sidewinder was I think about 27 grand when it's usually 32. So there we go. And it also applies for some modules as well. But anyway, I've been Commander Starcoaster. This has been How the Fuck Do I Move? And hopefully now you won't make the same mistake that I did. Fly safe, you all. You there, yes, you the viewer. If you liked what you saw in any way, shape or form, please, for crying out loud, get the word out, because otherwise we're stuffed. Anyway, thank you very much for watching and putting up with this horrendous filler content while we get our shit together, and I hope to see you soon. Star out.